Hello, and welcome back to another edition of whatever this is. Um, Art by Vivian, art by me. I paint crap and talk about it. That's the general idea, and I decided to make another episode. Yay! So here's me trying to paint a demon of some kind. I really had no idea what I was doing when I got started. I just figured, okay, let's press record and start drawing, and this was what came out. I've probably been watching some scary games from E3 or something. So probably seen a demon somewhere and subconsciously wanted to paint one. So I start out here by just trying to find an idea, trying to find the shapes and tones and values that I want to work on, and trying to see the character within that, in all the noise. But I pretty quickly started to get an idea of where I was headed. At first, I thought I was going to do some sort of arachnid monster. That's why he has those arachnid legs, like crab legs or something. But I later decided to go with more traditional, very fat, very fat thighs and things like that. Yeah, you'll see. We'll see later. This took about 5 hours to paint. It's sped up 800%, so it goes pretty quickly. I do not paint this fast when I usually paint. So I'm trying to figure out a composition. I don't spend enough time with the composition on this one. I'm not that happy with it towards the end. You'll see it's a little dark and all over the place. Here I'm saving quickly. Remember to save. There's nothing more infuriating than when you put an hour or two into a painting and then it just crashes and nothing's left. That will make you stop painting very fast. But yeah, here I'm starting to get a general idea of where I'm heading. I want him to have some sort of a humanoid shape, some sort of humanoid torso, because when you're tired and you don't have the energy to be really creative, you generally go for the generic stuff. So it's very easy to fall into that trap and just go for what comes naturally, which is usually something you've painted hundreds of times before. And I kind of fall into that trap here. Not by choice, really. Just I'm not really thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just letting my brush work, and my brain tries to catch up, which sometimes work and sometimes it doesn't. So now I'm adding some facial features here. The mouth is screaming or shouting or just looking generally menacing, scary. The nice thing about working digitally is that you can just change things after the fact. It's not like when you're painting for real or sketching with a graphite pen or something, where it's very, very hard to change proportions and things after the fact. But digitally, you can do pretty much whatever you want, which is probably not news to you. So you're adding some teeth, scary teeth. I want to mimic the tail in his head. It's sort of like he has these crazy like tail things growing out of his head. It sort of calls back to the fact that he has a big freaking tail on his ass. So adding some highlights, adding some psychotic eyes, which I think makes him look a little crazy. Now he's looking sort of shocked. He's shocked to see us. He's like, "Oh my god, who are you? What are you doing here?" Yeah, I'll try to make him look more angry later on, but still keep that psychotic, almost dead, sharky, glowing shark eyes. Sort of unintentionally gave him a bunny nose. it's a murderous demon bunny. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Right now, I try to not work in too many layers. Maybe have at most 3 or 4 at any one time. I used to work in way too many layers, which slowed the machine down pretty badly a couple of years ago. So I started to commit to choices pretty fast, and try not to rely on do too much. Yeah, it's so easy to get in that trap to just undo, and never commit to anything. But the only way you learn is to fail, and then redo it, but do it right. So here I'm repainting a lot of stuff, repainting the pose. So I try to, when I'm painting for myself, of course, in a production setting, it's very, very good to keep as many layers as you can, because there's always people who want things changed, and it can take a while to get feedback, so it's better to have everything in layers. So if a change list comes, it's easy to go back and tweak things, so you don't have to repaint everything. But here at home, I try to punish myself if I feel something's terribly wrong by having to repaint it from scratch, like paint over the mistakes. Again, it's not like I too get stuck in like undo mode from time to time, but at least I try not to. So I'm thinking he's holding some sort of axe or scythe. Not really sure, it's just a shaft right now. He's holding the shaft. But it's some sort of weapon in my head, or maybe it's just a flag. Maybe he's just a really enthusiastic football fan. He's going to the games and he's waving his team flag around, looking all crazy. Yeah, that's probably it. His name's probably George. George the football demon. So here I'm adding some darks in the background, just to get his highlights and rim lights to pop. I usually, when I do these sort of things, these sort of characters, when the character is the main thing in focus, I usually don't care too much about the environment, as long as it makes him pop and makes people look at him more. Keeping the environment he's standing in sort of abstract. Yeah, so now I'm fiddling around with these legs, kind of noticing that they don't really work, and they're really bothering me. So I'm experimenting, seeing if I can do some sort of foreshortening, or just trying to get him to feel like he's standing in this environment. And it's not really working for me with these legs. They're driving me a little bit crazy. And I'm tired and want to get on with the picture and not get stuck on some design element. This is why, if you're designing a character, you probably should design him first and then make the illustration. But, when you're just relaxing and just want to paint something, sometimes you get stuck in these sort of conundrums. So here I'm kind of submitting to the idea of him having sort of generic legs, because I want to get on with it. This is not really a character design. This is more just an illustration, action shot or something. Painting for fun, and if it's not fun, then stop. Then don't paint. You know, unless you're on a deadline, then for God's sakes, paint. So I'm playing with the idea that maybe he's a sort of centaur or centaur, however you pronounce that. But I'll throw that idea away soon, because now I found something here. Yeah, now we're talking. Give him some really fat thighs. That's what demons have, isn't it? It might be. I don't know that many demons. I'm thinking giving some fat, almost like these cow thighs or something. I will actually hide his legs pretty much later with some sort of skirt thing, a kilt maybe, or a bunch of straps and stuff.